Yeah, I know what you're thinking about these videos. You're thinking, damn, Dr. Joe, these are long. Yeah, they actually used to be much shorter, but the thing is, maybe I just like to gab. Although I'm not particularly enamored of making these videos. But the thing is, it's about the stories and all that enrich it. The thing is, very few people will tend to remember details, but people will tend to remember stories. And so these are lessons that you take with you. Uh, anyway, in terms of metrics, these are the metrics that you take into consideration when you're developing a guerrilla program. And so I think it pretty much explains itself of what it is. The thing is, you don't have to have a 10 out of 10 on all of these to be effective. For example, it's nice if you can get the customer involved in your guerrilla marketing, meaning active means are they part of the act? In order for this to work, they have to participate. Now, of course, it's a little like class. I could have no slides, and I could sit there and just write on the board, and you have to copy it all down. That makes you active. Um, but the thing is, for your product and for what you're trying to do, maybe it doesn't matter if you're active. Influencer marketing is a big part of marketing today. Again, we live in the age of content and influencer marketing. Um, but the big thing is to figure out who are the influencers and how are they going to affect things. And so what you need to do is brainstorm and map out who you think they are. And to build awareness with them is a big part of guerrilla marketing. Here's an example. Say my product is an app for craft beer drinkers. And so who are the people I'm going to go after? Well, we decided influencers, outlets, and events are the best way to go. And so the question is when I look at this tree of who to contact, I could either do it directly, meaning some kind of physical promotion, or I could do it digitally. Same thing if we're talking about outlets. How do I contact them? But in terms of events, no, these are physical promotions, so I need to be there. And so what it comes down to is that has to correlate with what my target markets are going to be. Here's some example of certain tactics to be able to use. So I have 3 totally different products: the beer app, window replacement, and raw titanium. I'm looking at awareness, consideration, and purchase. How am I going to go through that? And so I'll just go over one of these. For window replacement, for example. For awareness, window replacement, we're going to go home improvement sites, circulars, the local paper. Why? Because window replacement, unless I really do think I'm going to have a national chain, is a service activity. And because it's a service activity as well as selling windows, I need to be focused on locales. And so in order to get them to consider something, what are you going to do? You're going to send a sales guy out there, and he's going to sit down and talk with you over it. And in terms of how you're going to make the purchase, you get a bill. And they'll probably ask for 50% down or something like that. And so here are some examples of what people have done in terms of digital marketing. As you can see, what Sony did with the PSP is they actually made the entire tennis court look like a PSP. And so you got 20,000 people looking at it, and they'll go out and other people will talk about it. As you see, very creative and very expensive. And the thing is, does it match the brand of Sony? Yeah, it does. Because this is playful. Not only that, people who play tennis tend to be a bit more classy than some other professions. Now we look at this. I thought this was a crack up. Free air guitars, please take one. And so you see the rock radio. And so rock radio, they're going to be people who will appreciate, and probably who have air guitar themselves. Now the thing is, if you look at the ratings of it, it doesn't do that well active. Well, unless they're going to stand there and start doing this. This is just so simple. All it is a flyer. But somebody took a little creativity look at this. This is very elegant. It's cute. Anybody who's interested in taking classes is going to be attracted to this. Or they're going to tell someone else. In terms of activity, it's 0. But on the other hand, if you're talking about ballet classes, how active do you expect the customer to be? And so here's an example that tends to be a little more active, and that's that this is in a mall. And so that you look down, and the people are the fleas. Very creative, also pretty expensive to get that much space in a mall. But that's another example. Here's another simple one. If you making a bench look like a Kit Kat bar. And so for people seeing it, it's I think they give it a little too low rating for surprise. It is a bit of a surprise when you don't see it. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to build awareness in your head because buying chocolate is an impulsive thing. Ambush marketing. You take advantage of what's already there. And this is a case of where K-Swiss, across the street from the French Open, put a truck on one side and put a ball on the other. And that's how. Why? Because what does K-Swiss do? They sell tennis sneakers and also athletic shoes. And so they took advantage of the French Open in order to free ride. ASU, another example of ambush marketing. You've probably seen this all over the place. #1 school in the United States for innovation, where Stanford and MIT are 2 and 3. Now, what is ASU doing? They're taking advantage of the brands of Stanford and MIT, and they're free riding off of it. They're trying, what do? They're trying to set a reference point. Oh, look, we're above Stanford and MIT. Oh, come on now. Does anybody really believe that? Yes, I am an ASU employee. But the one thing is Dr. Cho will always be honest with you, and it's like, nah, ASU isn't. No public school, for that matter, can compete with a private school. Because a private school, basically, they pick and choose what students they want. When you're a public institution, you pretty much have to take everybody. But anyway, that's an example of ambush marketing. And they do it all over the place at ASU. And really putting UCLA in the same category as ASU. Berkeley, I have a great deal of respect for Berkeley. Berkeley is the best public school in the United States. UCLA, I think, if I had to rank them, I would say Berkeley's the best, Michigan's 2, and UCLA is 3. They're part of what's referred to as the public Ivies. But the thing I find funny about this scholars list is ASU is a much bigger school than all of those. But anyway, examples of ambush marketing. Now, the thing about ambush marketing is you have to be really careful. One is that you could be violating somebody's copyright laws. Not only that, there's something called domiciliary rights. And that's that if I'm staging the French Open, advertisers who are paying money there say we own the rights within like a 2 to 3 mile radius or something like that. And so you could be in violation of that. There are laws for this sort of thing. It can blow up in your face. In Boston, they put these lights all over the place. And this was before the Boston bombing at the Boston Marathon. But they put those light bright characters all over the place, and some people thought it was a bomb. Snapple made a 25-foot, 17.5-ton popsicle, and it melted. And Mission Impossible 3 put music boxes in newspapers, and people thought they were bombs. The thing is, guerrilla marketing is all around you, and some of them are very simple. For example, an anticipated movie, what do? They leak trailers. Lyft puts mustaches on its cars. And this one cracked me up to no end. Audi shows their car, and they said, "You're a BMW," and BMW responded with a billboard saying, "Checkmate." I thought that was a crack up. But as a competitor, you respond to what other people do. The question about guerrilla marketing. Is it really teachable or not? And I would say, yes, a large part of it is creativity. And this is where it's really helpful to get people to brainstorm together. Uh, but you have to compare it to, again, the metrics, whether it's cost, surprise, or whatever. And when you look at some of the products out there, for example, Damon John's FUBU, his clothing line, how were they successful? It was because of guerrilla marketing. Essentially, he got a bunch of rap artists from New York to wear his clothes. What did they do? This is ambush marketing. They took pictures of these rappers and all, and people said, wow, I love that clothing. And so that helped them take off. Goodyear, when they made the blimp, let's face it, you look up in the sky and it commands your attention. And everybody, there are other companies that have blimps now too, like the MetLife blimp, but everybody thinks Goodyear. Firefox, what were they? They were considered to be the cool browser. They're the ones that nobody else used. And now they've gone mainstream. And so the thing is, again, there are trade-offs, meaning you don't need to have all six, but you have to think about what's important. If I have a kitchen gadget, yeah, it'd be nice if it could be active so people can actually try it and see, hey, wow, how great is this? On the other hand, Uber, it's a ride. I mean, everybody knows what a ride is. Is there a digital gorilla? And yes, there is. And it's around you all the time. And the biggest purpose of digital gorilla typically is basically you've become too numb. And they're trying to get your attention because there's so much of this. I mean, sometimes I go on the internet and I just get sick. It just feels like the internet's just one big billboard. But essentially, when I look at my metrics, how can I impact it through digital? And the big thing is cost. It can be cheap. Actually, you can do a promotion on Facebook for about $20 a day. And who is it I'm going to try to reach? And here are an example of digital guerrilla tactics. You can have blogs. You can have videos which can give education or teasers ahead of time. Games. People become very engaged. Although every time my game breaks and say, you either have to watch this ad or pay $4.99 a month, I just put my phone down and go do something else. You use titles and headlines to shock. You put in enticements to get referrals. But what it comes down to is your tactics have to reflect your brand. And these are some of the digital guerrilla objectives, whether you're trying for sales or whether you're trying to get pull marketing. Here's an example of digital guerrilla. For example, articles. Beachgoers warned of scary-looking fish. Well, notice they don't show you the picture. So guess what? You're tempted to click on it because you want to see the darn fish. Britney Spears works out in nothing but a sports bra and teeny tiny shorts. Notice in the headline they put the word bra and teeny tiny shorts. They could have just left it as Britney Spears works out, but sex sells. If you look at that and you say, well, gee, is that geared for 20-year-old girls, or is it geared for 20-year-old boys? If you're a sports fan, and this is actually before last year, as it turns out they did ditch Colin Kaepernick. I guess I need to update this. But again, if you're a sports fan, that's of interest to you. Email. What kinds of emails work and what kinds of emails don't? For example, Amazon Video. It's telling me what new videos are out. So even though it's dry and informative, that gets my attention because I want to see what else is on. Facebook. You have 2 photo tags and 1 friend request. What does that do? It stirs up curiosity. Oh, who's referring to me? Career Builder. Career Builder sends me an email saying missed call. All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, did I miss the job opportunity of my life? Very effective. And the Universal Life Church reminded me it's my 6-month anniversary. And so you can look at some of the other examples I have here. And this is where YouTube can be really effective as an advertising platform for the simple reason people are always looking for new things to see, like that Boeing 747 crashing. The amazing thing is, just because it's Mickey Mouse, look at that. Almost 21 million views. That's impressive. Or it could be something as simple as education, like a tutorial. You can actually buy celebrities. You can have celebrities tweet about your product or post something, and you have to pay them. Who's going to listen to Lisa Rinna? Geez. Do you know who she is? Melissa Joan Hart. This is a 1990s calling, because that's when she was last relevant. The thing is, pictures can be very powerful, like acne scars, to advertise for a product. Again, shock value. If you're a Patriots fan, you see that and you go, oh no, what happened? And then you find out it's like about nothing. Or, notice how this all ties into communication. Or am I going for a big idea? Am I trying to build up sincerity? The thing about every teacher, uses Elmer's glue, but that gets their attention because teachers want a break. Here's an example from a couple of Facebook. Now, Brandon Smith is the CEO of M33. He's the founder of the company. And the thing is, he sent a message out to give his heartfelt thanks to people. The thing that's bad about this message is, look what he did. He cut off his product. The logo is too big. It's dominating the product. And anytime you send something out, again, it's part of your brand and advertising of what you do. And so basically, Brandon missed an opportunity for a smart desk. This is Cassie Pascour. I always have problems pronouncing her last name. But anyway, she's a work-at-home mom, and she sells products. And so her ad was, this is my office view. Well, guess what? Every mother is going to look at that, and they're going to think, hey. And so what is it? Hashtag best jobs ever. This is it's very simple. But think about it. How many people is she going to reach? Does she get her point across? Does it support her brand? Yes, it does. And so that's the thing about guerrilla marketing. Everybody thinks about these huge flamboyant things. Like the guys with the beer app said, we're going to give out cozies. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Do you know how much a cozy costs? And this is a big problem with a cozy. Where do you use a cozy? At home. How many people are going to see this cozy? You're better off handing out t-shirts. Again, you have to think about how much awareness you're going to create and how much reach. And so that's the heart of guerrilla marketing. If you get stuck, what you do is look at the techniques and say, okay, based on this technique, like an urban setting, does it apply to my product? Nope. Go to the next tactic. If you're creatively just stuck. But what this lecture has done is given you ideas of how people do guerrilla marketing, and essentially to actually sit down after you put it together, take a step back, do a sanity test, and see whether or not it's actually going to be effective.